What are your thoughts going into the season this year? Did you think that this team was going to play as well under Peter Laviolette?
Honestly, I mean, I think like most of us, I had them at third in the division. I thought the Devils would be a lot better than they were this year, and Carolina is what Carolina is. They're a very good hockey team. They just shut out the Florida Panthers tonight 4-0. So now they're back to 4 points behind the Rangers. But truthfully, I thought they were a third team in the division. I mean, I would say at worst, I didn't think they were a wild card team. They've surprised me this year. They've been a lot better than I thought. If they go, I think it's 10-6 over their last 16 games, they break their franchise record in wins, which is something that, wasn't something you were thinking about at the start of the year. You were just, assuming they were going to make the playoffs, end up facing a team like New Jersey or a team like Carolina. And, you thought it'd be a kind of ho-hum year. And here they are in March 14th, and the best team in the Metropolitan Division and one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference and one of the best teams in the league. Unfortunately, tonight, not so much. Let one go against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they played a very good first period, and if you turn the game off after the first period, you'd have thought that they would just sit there and dominate the rest of the game. Unfortunately, they didn't. But they've had a very good stretch over the last, say, month and a half that has put them in a position to sit here at the deadline. It was underwhelming, but it doesn't mean it was bad. I mean, these guys, Jack Roslovic, Alex Wenberg, we haven't seen Chad Ruedel yet, but they've come in and made some impacts. Roslovic with a goal and an assist tonight. Wenberg had an assist in one of those games. And I think, you go back to the 2022 deadline and they fit the same build as the the Cops and the Vetranos that they picked up at that deadline. It's not sexy, but it works.
Two teams that needed to make moves to make their team better is the Panthers, who acquired Vladimir Tarasenko at the trade deadline from the Senators for a third and a fourth round pick. And another team, the Penguins, trading away Jake Gensel to the Hurricanes, a team that is chasing the Rangers right now for, three prospects and a conditional first and a fifth. They gave up a lot, and Michael Bunting, but they gave up a lot, but they added a great goal scorer. What did you think about these moves, and what does that say about, what does this do to the Rangers, and what does that say to the Rangers moving closer to the playoffs?
Well, it's hard not to look at those two teams and think that they're probably not the class of the Eastern Conference. I know the Rangers just shut out Carolina, who just shut out the Panthers tonight. So it's just a circle of shutouts at the top of the Eastern Conference. But, the Rangers didn't want to give up Othman or Perreault. And that seemed to be the big reason why they weren't able to go out and get Jake Gensel, which good on them. I don't think the Rangers need to be chasing and giving up guys that have proven themselves to a degree as their top prospects. I don't think they needed to be chasing. Would I have liked them to get Jake Gensel? Yes, but at the expense of those two, probably not. Especially, I think more along the lines of that being an in-division team. I mean, you don't want to see Brennan Othman or Gabe Perreault for the next 15 years if you don't have to. Carolina had the assets to do it, and they weren't married to their prospects in the same way that the Rangers were. So that's basically what got the Bunting or the Gensel deal over the line. And as for Florida, I mean, they're a juggernaut at the moment. I mean, I was watching their game a couple nights ago against Dallas. They were down 3-1 in the third period. I think they were down 3-0 actually. They were down 3-1 in the third period, scored 4 unanswered goals in like 6 minutes to beat a very good Dallas Stars team in Dallas. So obviously those two teams are ones that you're going to have to worry about come playoff time, but winning the Stanley Cup's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. You got to beat the good teams if you want to win a Stanley Cup. And I think the Rangers have the ability to do that, especially if Igor's playing well. If they're structured in their defensive zone and the neutral zone, which they were against Carolina, they were for the first period tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning, they can hang with any team in the Eastern Conference to get to the Stanley Cup. And I think they can hang with most teams in the Western Conference. They've beaten Dallas. They've beaten Colorado. I think the only team they haven't beaten this year is Vegas. And, they loaded up as well. But there's no guarantee that they're getting in the playoffs because they're still the second wild card team out in the West. I would be very shocked if they didn't. But I think the Rangers can hang with any team in the Eastern Conference. And I think their deadline, while underwhelming, was still a very successful one so far.